am now going to be reflecting on the experience I had with curriculum during my time student teaching. So how curriculum at Living Word is developed is kind of interesting. I don't know if it's this way across all disciplines, but it is this way for the science department. So the principal and executive director at Living Word are both former science teachers, which is very cool and helpful for new teachers like me or people who are student teaching. But because of this experience, they think it best that teachers are allowed to choose what curriculum they want to use and what works best for them. With that being said, if there's not something that a teacher can necessarily find that they like, we have been encouraged to develop our own curriculum based off of our own knowledge, past experience, or just through combining a few different curricula. So through my time teaching in the realms of biology and chemistry, which are the primary focus of what I was teaching over this student teaching experience, was my collaborating teacher, Tanner Schmidt. He actually developed his own biology curriculum. He made all his own PowerPoints and quizzes and things like that. So he shared that with me, and I adapted and developed it throughout the semester to fit my teaching style and needs best. So it wasn't necessarily chosen as much as developed. And then in the realm of chemistry, the chemistry teacher at Living Word, he has only been there for a short time. So the teacher prior to him had chosen the curriculum that was being used, and it was the Prentice Hall chemistry textbook, and he continued on using it. As I begun teaching, I started out using that book, but quickly realized I didn't like it in that I think it simplified the subject too much and didn't really provide students with much of a challenge at all. And there was a lot of additional information that I didn't feel necessary. For example, there was a whole long section about the history of alchemy and applying it to practices that don't necessarily align with scripture. And I didn't feel that that was quite necessary. I did mention those things to my students, but in a passive worldview sense rather than teaching them all about it. But with that being said, I then, with some information from the book, some of my own experience, and college material that I had, actually started to develop my own chemistry curriculum or materials through some assistance from the principal at Living Word. So the challenge then in developing your own curriculum is aligning it to those state standards. So conveniently for me, at the end of last school year, the science department met and was tasked with creating a detailed outline of each of the state standards and then describing how they would be covered throughout the school year. So, for example, there's this big long spreadsheet that is used throughout the entirety of the department, and it says, for example, Unit 1, Introduction to Chemistry, and then it lists all the standards that go with it along with objectives. So I was able to use that to make the curriculum that I was using and make sure I was hitting all of those standards. So it was nice for me that those who came before me actually did a lot of that work. And it is referenced often through department meetings and meetings with admin. And then as far as assessment, for teachers in the discipline of science, a lot of it is hands-on application. I love doing labs. I think it helps make the content so much more meaningful for students. So a lot of my assessment is based around lab work. And then also homework. I don't like to use it as much as making it more in-class work so that students are more inclined to stay on task and work through it. But it's very much practice. Chemistry is lots of problem-based, so giving lots of practice. And then using those quizzes as daily kind of assessments, thinking like an exit ticket. I know all the science teachers at Living Word did those exit ticket kind of quizzes, and I continued that, and I really liked that. And then those formal assessments being more test-driven. So pretty standard across curriculum, except with the addition of the labs being a big piece of it. And then Some resources or activities that I find that worked extremely well in class were online review or practice activities. So things like Gimkit, Kahoot, Blookit. My students loved those. It made them feel like they were playing a computer game, and they were a lot more engaged. I also really liked to use Nearpod, which is similar to like a Desmos kind of thing. But Nearpod is nice because it allows immediate feedback and it allows students to do things individually or together, and I really liked that. And as a teacher, I can see what students are on task or if they switched off on certain tabs in their computer and things like that. So it's been really fun developing my own curriculum, and I don't think I would have been able to do that without all the support I had at Living Word.